Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Howard Finkel's hairpiece.
And I am Shane Lonnie Kai.
Welcome to episode 113, Wrestlemania 10.
10 years in the making. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, 10 years in the making.
Is this the 10th anniversary
It's the
of
10th
WrestleMania
annual
1?
Yeah.
That was 85, this is 94, so
Crazy.
technically it's...
Yeah. 11 would be the 10th anniversary of WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you
Sorry,
know, you got to get that nice,
company.
clean,
Yeah,
big
'cause that's
number.
what Starrcade does. They always do, it's the 10th one, but it's the 11th anniversary, 11th one, 10th anniversary. It's like, what?
WWE will have their moment down the line with
I mean,
their
yeah,
whole
Vince-
WrestleMania 2000 and the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania.
I mean, we
instead
watched
of WrestleMania 25.
Yeah,
this year's, and they don't even number him anymore.
No.
I don't know when they stopped that.
at 30.
Oh, really? He's like, God, it's too old. It's like, no, it's tradition. It makes it sound important. I remember I was wearing, like, anytime my dad always forgets, because I tell him every time, but every time I have, like, a New Japan t-shirt on, everything always says, like, established 1972. And he's like, oh, 1972?
Great year.
That's old. They're like, that company's been around for a long time. I was like, yeah, I guess so. I guess they have.
Almost 50 years.
I know.
Wow.
So, like as we've said, this is the 10th annual WrestleMania produced by the WWF. It would take place on March 20th, 1994, from Madison Square Garden in New York City.
I mean, could you really have it anywhere else?
I mean, that's where the first one was.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to
And
return to your roots.
Madison Square Garden is like the WWF building,
Oh, yeah.
all through the like 80s.
Yeah.
That's their spot.
And the 90s.
Yeah.
And probably partway into the 2000s.
I'm
trying to remember when Madison Square Garden kind of lost its...
I think the last big show that I
Luster.
can remember is that Royal Rumble with Cena coming back. That's the last big show that I can think of at Madison Square Garden.
Damn. The end of an era. But hey,
But they can fit a few people in Madison Square Garden.
quite a few.
how many?
18,065.
Crazed. What was the first... Do we remember what the first attendance was at Mania 1?
Probably sold out. Whatever this one
Right
was.
offhand.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Let's see.
this is one of the shows where I got the buy rate too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I said it on Wikipedia.
Look at you deep diving.
420,000 buy rate. That means people that bought it.
420,000 people.
I never. Yeah.
WrestleMania 1 attendance, 19,121.
I can't even sell the place.
Oh man, you know that these numbers are made up anyway.
What?
Like, can we count the staff? Can we count the staff and the guys taking tickets?
They were in attendance.
They were there. Security's there.
Yep.
It doesn't say paid attendance. It just says attendance.
Like Cyndi Lauper counts, even though she didn't
She's just on
pay.
a flashback.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, I guess she's not here. It's just a flashback. Yeah. Well, Jenny Garth counts then.
There we go.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Sorry. I popped for Jenny Garth, not so much for Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, did you now?
Well, not like that. I had my pants on while watching WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
But is the food that you brought this week from New York City any good?
That remains to be seen because I have not taken a bite yet. Yeah. Nice little segue to the culinary trip around the globe. Back in New York, we've had quite a few trips there. We've done sandwiches, we've done desserts, we've done lots of stuff to the point that it's getting a little ridiculously difficult to figure stuff out. However, we have not done New York-style pizza. So, boom. New York-style pizza from my friends over at Empire Slice House, located over here in Nichols Hills. It's a big, monstrous triangle of pepperoni pizza. But then I also got some meatballs to accompany it because, you know, it's New York. meatball sub. Meatballs in general are just delicious, and these ones kind of had a wrestling theme name to them. They were known as Andres. So yeah, sprinkle him in, just like a little flashback to all the Manias, past, present, and future.
Do you know if they're named after Andre the Giant? Because I know that they named...
Originally they did, because
Okay.
it used to be one giant meatball, and it was just called Andre the Giant Meatball.
Okay, because I know they do like the cute names at their restaurant.
Yeah. I think it became too difficult to prepare just because of how big it was.
I mean, bake it forever.
Yeah, they'd have to take too long cooking it, and this way they can get it done in about 10-ish minutes. Meatballs, beef and pork, nicely seasoned, doused in marinara, sprinkled in Parmesan.
I think there was some basil up in them
Yeah,
too.
a
They
little
were
bit
good.
of basil.
I already ate mine.
Yeah. I sat here playing on my phone, looking stuff up, so mine are nice and cold, but they're still pretty fucking delicious.
They are very delicious. And while Shane continues to chomp away on his pizza and meatballs, something that would happen right around the same time as WrestleMania 10, the 66th Academy Awards would be the next day, awarding Best Picture to Schindler's List, along with 6 other awards.
Never seen Schindler's List.
I'm not gonna lie. I not.
Yeah, I don't know why. I
Really?
think when it came out, I was a little kid. My parents weren't going to have me watch this, in 1994. Probably they're probably like, this is a little heavy for for a kid. But I just I haven't got around to it. I always think about the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry goes to see Schindler's List with his girlfriend, and they just make out the whole time, and then it gets back to his parents, and they're appalled.
No, I mean, I'm big into all of the movies and everything of the 90s. I was big into the Academy Awards and everything from back then. But Schindler's List, it was too well, I say it was too serious and everything for me, but I was also big into some of the other movies that were out at the time. Yeah. Philadelphia was out at that time, The Fugitive. I mean, I'll say it, The Piano.
I've seen
With Holly Hunter.
Haven't seen The Piano, but I've seen the other two. I've been meaning. I almost watched The Piano the other day because I love Holly Hunter.
Philadelphia wasn't up for Best Picture
it
this
wasn't
year.
up for Best Picture, no. What's Love Got to Do With It should have been, but it was not. I'm still, as much as I love that Holly Hunter won the Oscar for The Piano, I still think Angela Bassett was robbed to not even be nominated and win, because there is no other Tina Turner other than Angela Bassett. So that's my feelings on the 66th Annual Academy Awards.
So, but you've seen Schindler's List, right?
I have not watched the entire thing.
Really? It was like,
I've seen bits and pieces of it
too
on
much.
TV, but
Yeah.
that was back also
you
when I
guys
had
want-
issues watching black and white movies.
Oh, yeah.
It was like reading a book to me. They put me to sleep.
I guess we could all get really bummed out after this. Watch Schindler's List, but I think that's a movie that I'll watch on my own when I'm not. When I make sure I'm in a good headspace. So that's probably why I haven't seen it. This is, some movies you got to know that what you're getting into is a real big bummer, and I can't imagine that Schindler's List is the most fun movie.
No. I mean, it had a great cast. I mean,
I'm sure it's good.
fucking Spielberg.
If you find it to be fun,
You've got a problem.
You're probably not the kind of people that we really
Want to be hanging out with?
Hanging out.
Yeah.
There's a T-shirt somewhere for you.
Yeah. Well, I won't be purchasing it. But I'll put Schindler's List on the short list. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know when I'll watch it one day. You got to save the classics. Spread them out. Sometimes you got to watch Weird Science. They can't all be Schindler's List.
Sometimes it's 2:00 in the morning and you have to watch that thing you do, like I did the other day.
All right.
Well, let's talk some WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The logo comes on the screen before going to highlights of the first WrestleMania.
Very like sitcom clip show vibes.
We get Liberace dancing with the Radio City Music Hall girls, Andre body slamming Big John Studd, Muhammad Ali as the special guest referee, and Cyndi Lauper leading Wendy Ricker out to the ring.
Iconic.
We have bagpipers, Billy Martin, Hogan, and Mr. T having their hand raised, which we covered all the way back in episode 3. Vince McMahon then welcomes us to the show from inside the ring, and he introduces Little Richard to sing America the Beautiful.
Are you sure?
We all had to double check to make sure it wasn't Johnny B. Bad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, did he get a new contract? Yeah, I mean, come on. You got to go big for 10.
Exactly.
Little Richard in there.
I mean, hell, it started with, who was there first? Was it Liberace? Or was it Aretha Franklin? I'm trying to remember when Aretha popped up on there.
Aretha, I think, was 3.
3 or 4.
I think she was Detroit.
Okay. So yeah, maybe it was just Little Richard that was the musical guest of Mania 1. But yeah, we've got Little Richard. We got
the stock footage of America.
You gotta have the stock footage of America
that they always like to show.
Mm-hmm. I love that the choir comes in.
I do too. The choir was really good, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, anything that drowned out Little Richard was kind of good.
I mean, when it first started, I was
Hey,
like, oh, it's just a
Richard's
generic version of America the Beautiful, and then the choir came
comes
in, and I was like, oh, okay.
I like that he says, God done shed. I like that part. I like that part. I was like, hell yeah. He's having fun with it.
God done shed his grace on thee.
I mean, I'll take this over Aaron Neville any day.
Hell yeah.
That's so good. That's a very good Aaron Neville. Maybe that should be your karaoke jam whenever bars are, you can be comfortable in them again.
I've never actually done an Aaron Neville karaoke night.
You have to know one of the songs well enough. That's the hard part.
I mean, you just have to know the melody of it. You don't really need to know the words because
I guess you could find a partner and do the Gloria Estefan song. Or is it Gloria Estefan and him? No, it's Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt. Yeah. The I Don't Know Much.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We then get Vince at ringside, and he introduces his commentary partner, Jerry, the King Lawler.
Oh, Jerry.
Is it crazy that his first commentary that we see of him is at WrestleMania 10, and he is still working for the company?
Yeah.
Still doing the same shtick today that he did back then.
Everybody else jumped ship, I guess. Like, we don't have...
Either that or everybody else just stopped kissing ass as
well. No Bobby. I mean, I guess JR's over here, but can JR really handle the King yet?
Probably not.
We got Corny there eventually,
Oh, yeah.
doing stuff on the show, but I think he would have been good.
McMahon tells us that Bret Hart will be in the last match of the night, but he's also in the first one.
Ooh.
I know, isn't that great? Isn't that great for us?
I think so. So, a little backstory here. We all remember Lex Luger and the Hitman going out of the ring at the same time at the Royal Rumble. After that, President Jack Tunney would make the decision that both men would get a title shot at WrestleMania. There was a coin toss to determine who would face Yokozuna first. And whoever won that only had to wrestle one time on the card, unless they won the match, basically.
Yeah.
But to make it even for Yokozuna, the person who got to wrestle him second had to wrestle another match on the show.
A little convoluted, but it makes some sense.
Obviously, Lex ended up winning the coin toss, and that's why Bret has two matches, the first and the last match.
I'm glad that he won this coin toss.
Vincent sends us to a video package where we see at Survivor Series 93, Owen Hart's running the ropes, only to run into Bret Hart on the apron, sending the Hitman into the guardrail and causing the distraction, leading to the Rocket being pinned, who then whines about it after the match.
Gotta tease that split.
Owen challenges Bret on an episode of Superstars a few weeks later, but Bret says he will never face his brother.
Of course not.
Before they reunite to challenge for the tag team belts. And then at the Royal Rumble, Hitman doesn't make the tag during the match, causing them to lose. And the Rocket kicks the leg out from under his leg.
I know, Bret was trying to prove
after the match.
Yeah, Bret was trying to prove some stuff. He's like, I got this. Don't worry, little brother.
Then you got Owen in the background afterwards.
Yeah.
Should have tagged me. Why didn't he tag me?
That's what you get for big manning.
On the march to WrestleMania, Owen has more comments where he whines even more about Bret holding him down. We then have a new ring announcer, Bill Dunn.
Ooh.
Howard Finkel had actually been away having surgery and other things done, which we'll see later. And so they were like, hey, Bill, you've done a good job. we'll let you.
Yeah, you've been killing it at the house shows.
Yeah.
We'll let you be the ring announcer for a couple matches here. So he's the ring announcer here for this first match, which is the Rocket, Owen Hart, versus the Hitman, Bret Hart.
I love the X doors, the 10, like the Roman numeral doors that slide open for everybody's entrance. Such a nice little touch. And then black and gold for 10. It's like, so keep it clean. It's
And
good.
even the guardrails going down.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got rid of the generic black or baby blue color, and these ones were kind of gold or bronze or whatever. So
Yeah,
it
they
just added
fancied it up a little bit.
Nice touch of class.
But guess who's out making fun of his brother already? Owen Hart's in the Bret Hart glasses.
But instead of putting them on a kid, he just rips them apart.
Attaboy.
I know.
I wanted to do that so many times when I was a teenager. My nephew was a huge Bret Hart fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I got sick of those glasses, so yeah.
Yeah.
There was very, very, very many times that I just wanted to shred the hell out of them.
So the match gets going with Owen immediately hitting a fireman's carry takedown. But the Hitman counters into a head scissors. The two brothers trade takedowns when Bret tosses the Rocket through the ropes to the floor, only for Owen to slide back in and smack the Hitman across the face.
Getting personal. I mean, it can't get any more personal than this, right? They're brothers.
The two then trade wrist locks, headlocks, and arm bars until Bret hits a monkey flip and a clothesline to send the Rocket out to the floor. But the Hitman follows out to toss Owen back in and smack him across the face before rolling him up for a 2 count. Bret comes off the ropes with a crucifix for a 2 count. Again hits the ropes, only to run into a spinning heel kick from the Rocket, sending Hitman rolling out to the floor.
Beautiful.
Owen goes out after him, ramming him into the ring post, and back inside they go, where the Rocket continues with a hard Irish whip, a backbreaker, and sets up a camel clutch, only for the Hitman to escape, but ends up running into a belly-to-belly for a 2 count.
And like Owen's already teased going, just leaving already after he got a little sour on that first toss to the mat.
Owen's Irish whip is reversed, so he springboards off the second rope into a crossbody, only for Bret to roll through for a near fall. The Rocket goes back on offense, slowing it down with a reverse chinlock before going for a body slam. But a reversal of weight causes the Hitman to fall on top for a 2 count, before being sent to the outside on the kickout.
See, what I love too during these few minutes of the match here, or throughout this beginning part of the match, I have to say, every now and then Owen reaches up, grabs a handful of hair.
Oh yeah.
Even though ref is in plain sight, it's basically a beautiful show of brotherly fighting right there.
Yeah.
Fuck you, I'm gonna reach up and pull your hair because
just
I
antagonistic.
Owen tries to bring Bret in with a vertical suplex, only for the Hitman to flip over to counter. But the Rocket counters as well to hit a bridging German suplex for a near fall.
Beautiful suplex.
Owen with a leg drop, headbutt, goes for another suplex, but Bret blocks and counters with a small package for a 2 count. The Rocket is sent to the ropes, where the Hitman goes for a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, only for Owen to reverse it into a tombstone pile driver.
Okay.
Climbs to the top rope, coming off with a splash, but Bret moves in time.
And this is wrestling, guys. I love that before the pile driver reverse, he had already worked the neck in the back of Bret. So it's like, if these two guys can't have a match that makes sense in the ring, what hope do we have?
Yes.
And they're killing it here.
Hitman with an inverted atomic drop, clothesline, Russian leg sweep for a 2 count, followed by a second rope elbow drop and a backbreaker. But the Rocket turns the tide with an enziguri and attempts the sharpshooter, only for Bret to counter to try one of his own, which Owen just rolls out of. The Rocket's up with a roll-up for a 2 count, but the kick-out sends him out to the floor, where the Hitman follows out with a plancha onto Owen.
Slingshot style, baby.
Only to hurt his knee.
Uh-oh.
And you know what Bret Hart can do.
It's the same knee he hurt at the Royal Rumble.
Better than most people.
Sell
a knee.
Back in the ring, the Rocket sees the Hitman favoring the leg and goes right to work on it, even wrapping it around the ring post several times. Owen with a dragon screw leg whip before applying an inverted figure 4, only to let it go to drop a knee. Hits another dragon screw before locking on a traditional figure 4. But Bret is able to turn it over after a few moments, and the two end up rolling to the ropes to break the hold. The Rocket gets back to his feet and starts working the leg once again, only for Bret to fire back with an enziguri, a headbutt, and a hard Irish whip, sending Owen chest first into the corner.
It was Owen's turn to take the chest bump in the corner.
Hart style, turnbuckle blast.
The Hart family trick.
The Hitman with a leg drop, a bulldog, and a pile driver, all for 2 counts, before setting the Rocket on the top rope and delivers a top rope superplex for a near fall. Bret stays on the attack with European uppercuts and a sleeper, only for Owen to escape after a low blow and locks on the sharpshooter.
Oh no.
The Hitman powers out to counter into a sharpshooter of his own, but the Rocket makes the ropes to break the hold. Bret is then whipped to the corner, and Owen charges right into a big boot. So the Hitman climbs up to the turnbuckle, goes for a victory roll, but the Rocket just sits down on Bret's shoulders for the pin and the win.
We might not have sounded super excited, but we're just seeing it all in our heads as Matt went through it. But, you know, this is the shit we wait for all the time.
Yes. This is one of those WrestleMania matches that you could rewind and rewatch and rewind and rewatch and rewind and rewatch and just fill up the entire space of a WrestleMania watching the same match over and over again and still be okay.
I feel like it's like, oh, if you go to like sign up for wrestling school and like you're like, oh, I haven't seen this match, but they'll be like, all right, well, come back when you have, because they just kind of do.
First lesson's free.
Yeah, they do everything right. They sell everything right. Everything makes sense. They sell the superplex correctly. Thank God. Of course they did, but I mean that's one I get tired of. It's like no, nobody gets a. It's like the other guy hurt his head.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Wherever Stu Hart was watching this match from, I hope he was very, very, very proud.
Yeah, he probably was like, slow down. But that's what other criticism could he have? He's older.
Todd Pettengill catches up with Owen Hart in the back, and I really needed someone to tell him about the big gobble spit that was on his mouth before you do an interview. Just anybody.
What? Who? Todd?
No.
Or Owen?
Owen.
Oh yeah, it was gross.
Huge gross
He
thing.
he just worked hard.
Owen
Put
says,
it all out there.
I beat you, and now I'll get the recognition I deserve. And then Todd sends us to a Coliseum video WrestleMania moment.
Ooh.
And we see highlights of WrestleMania 2 with Ray Charles and the NFL WWF Battle Royal.
I forgot about that until I saw this clip. I guess because it was the NFL Battle Royal.
Which we covered in episode 7, so you can go back and listen to that.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I was like, Matt, who's that guy?
William the Refrigerator Perry.
Yeah, that's the only
really
one I
the one I
remember. I was like,
remember.
it's like the fridge, right? The fridge was there, right?
Like Bret Hart was there, I think.
Yeah.
Brett
right next
Brett
to
was in that match.
Yeah, right next to the anvil, I'd imagine.
Yes. We get Bill Dunn back in the ring making an announcement. Not only is he the president of the Hair Club for Men, he's also a client. Please welcome Cy Sperling.
Oh, Cy. The good old days of Cy Sperling on your TV.
Was that like an infomercial?
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember it particularly well. I don't remember him. I remember the Hair Club for Men vaguely. But...
Yeah, before Ron Popeil and the Ronco food dehydrator and the Ronco spray hair and all the
what
other
about
Ronco
this
stuff.
Set It and Forget It? The like chicken cooker rotisserie
Oh, yeah.
thing?
Long
that was
before
good.
the days of those, you had Cy Sperling on there selling not only hair, but the fact that he was a member.
Oh.
Or a client, I should
Yes.
say.
Cy then introduces his newest creation,
Oh my gosh.
Howard Finkel.
Ooh.
And the Fink has a full head of hair and asks the crowd what they think.
Now, that's some surgery.
It looks okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like, you could hear that my voice kind of, I wasn't sure about it. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's very reminiscent of old Cy's hairdo himself. So I'm starting to wonder if there was just that one style.
Cy brought his bonus toupee.
Yes.
His
Look like you're the
extra
president of
one.
the company and also a client. Get the Cy.
But Howard takes over the ring announcing, for our second match. Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon versus the Clowns of Doink and Dink in a mixed tag team match. And since the last time we discussed Luna Vachon, she has been inducted into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Ooh, I did not know this.
Well, I know her dad is Mad Dog Vachon.
Yes.
Does she have a brother that was a famous wrestler too? Or were they all just kind of like Sheeta kind of was the biggest in the family?
The most famous out of her entire family.
Yeah, the most prominent. I mean,
the most well known to the masses, I should say.
Yeah, like on and off in this company for at least the next like 6 to 8 years, probably.
Something like that.
Wait till we get to the oddities.
Can't.
Yeah. I can.
Well, you're gonna have to. So, you have plenty of time to prepare yourself.
But Doink sprays Sperling with his water flower. Bigelow attacks at the bell with a shoulder block, a drop kick, and a body slam to set up for a leg drop. But Doink rolls out of the way and starts working the arm, only for Bam Bam to rake the eyes to escape and try for an elbow drop, which Doink avoids as well.
Bam Bam just can't get him.
Fast clown.
The Clowns tag, which forces Luna into the ring, where Dink smacks Vachon on the ass, but she responds with a swift kick to the rear and a body guillotine.
And just so we know, Dink is a little person, and Luna is Luna Vachon. She's a lady. So it's,
Yes.
it's a mixed tag, but put the little guy in with the lady.
But as Vince points out at one point, Dink is a professional wrestler.
Yeah. I'm sure that...
So is Luna Vachon.
Yeah. He, Dink probably has been on a WrestleMania a decade ago.
He
He wasn't one of the minis?
One of the minis.
Okay.
He was related to one of them.
Okay.
But he is not one of them.
Nepotism, jeez.
Hey, man, there's not a whole lot of options.
Luna goes for another body guillotine, but Dink moves out of the way and follows up with an elbow drop for a 2 count.
I love how Luna's pissed. She's having a good time in there.
Dink just starts running around Vachon, where she kicks him in the gut and goes for an elbow drop. But Dink again moves to avoid and heads up to the top rope, coming off only for Luna to have moved. Vachon with a series of back rakes, body slam, and goes to the top rope for a splash attempt of her own. But again, Dink moves to avoid. Bigelow and Doink are tagged in, with the Clown hitting a drop toe hold and a shoulder block, only for Bam Bam to come back with a clothesline, sending Doink over the ropes to the floor.
I know, and Jerry Lawler's like, "Oh, you got to be careful. There could be more dinks under that ring." And Vince McMahon just goes, "No!" Like he's just like, "Yeah, anything but that. Either that, or he just wanted to let us know that he was done with multiple doinks." You can have a doink and you can have a dink, but you can only have one doink.
Right.
Dink comes into the ring, and Bigelow and Luna both charge at him, but he escapes as Doink climbs back into the ring with a sunset flip, only for Bam Bam to just sit down on him. Bigelow charges into a corner, but receives a big boot from Doink, followed by a DDT, and the Clown climbs to the top rope, but misses the whoopee cushion. Bam Bam fires up with several clotheslines, goes to go off the top ropes for another, but ends up crashing into Dink, knocking him off the apron, which allows Doink to go for a back suplex, only for Bigelow to land on top.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be confident if you're gonna try to slam a man that big.
Yeah.
Bam Bam hits multiple falling headbutts before going up to the top, coming off with a diving headbutt for the pin and the win. Post-match, Dink comes back into the ring to stand up to Bigelow, only for Luna to kick him from behind and hit a body slam, followed up by a double-team falling headbutt that Dink at least rolls out of the way of.
We would have smashed his melon.
Kinda.
Doink
Doink is up and starts going after Vachon, just for her to roll out of the ring and head to the back.
It was fun like way to a fun second match for WrestleMania. It's like, all right, we went heavy and technical. Let's go light and fun. Luna is a great performer, very entertaining, and then you've got Goofy Doink and Dink for the laughs.
Dink. It made me nervous every time that I saw him get manhandled by one of them, just because of how he positions himself or becomes dead weight when somebody else puts their hands on him to where it looks like they're just throwing him around literally like a rag doll or a small child.
He's okay though.
Oh yeah, he was good.
He's a professional.
Yeah, he's a trained professional at this.
Hail to the Chief starts playing, and we have a Bill Clinton impersonator in President Jack Tunney's box.
And I was like, oh, it's Daryl Hammond, but it's not Daryl Hammond.
I was hoping it was
Not
going to be.
Daryl.
Is Daryl Hammond like the best Bill Clinton? Or I guess Phil.
Daryl Hammond and Phil Hartman were
great, but like just as far as like SNL presidential like impersonators, because they're all pretty bad with the exception of those two guys. Yeah, I'm gonna say it here. Alec Baldwin's Donald Trump is terrible.
But
It was purposely terrible.
I'm sure it was, but it sucked.
Hey, it was award winning though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was.
He won the supporting actor Emmy for his features on Saturday Night Live playing the Orange Troll himself.
And that's why awards are silly.
Vincent sends us to another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment, looking back at WrestleMania 3. And we see 93,173 fans in the Pontiac Silverdome to see Hogan versus Andre.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, probably not going to get that again, like, for a real long time. Because that was, like, an attraction, and Vince basically turns the attraction into the name of the company, which was his whole plan all along, but that early, Hogan Andre, whole different thing.
But you can hear us talk about that in episode 11. But we then go to our third match. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
I know, I was so excited.
Versus Crush with Mr. Fuji in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
It's like they reel me in with the Randy Savage has got a match at WrestleMania, and then they bring out Crush for the flat.
Randy Savage could have a match with a fucking broom handle.
He could, but he deserves to have.
I mean, yeah, for sure. It was sad to know, like, how there's still steam in this train, and we're wasting it on Crush. But yeah. Randy always with the incredible outfits, the black and white checkers, all sparkly.
Oh, Crush. He's like the living version of that scene in Big Daddy where What's-Her-Face talks about, we wasted the good surprise on you. That's Crush.
So the rules of this match are that falls don't really count inside the ring.
Yeah.
But once someone is pinned, they must return to the ring within 60 seconds.
Yeah, so Randy pins Crush, goes back to the ring. Once he's in the ring, they count 60 seconds, or do the 60 seconds after he pins him?
After he pins him.
Okay, for Crush to get back in there.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. Is this a thing that, a match style that I'm just not familiar with?
I mean, this is the first time I think we've seen it. So.
And maybe the last?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably with these specific rules,
I'm
yes.
hoping it was a stipulation of Savage saying, fuck no, I'm not letting him pin me in the ring.
I won't do that for you, brother.
No.
So Savage attacks Crush in the aisle, but is quickly countered into an atomic drop and a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. The Hawaiian then hits a press slam on the guardrail that gets him a 3 count.
The not-so-rubber band slam.
So Macho has 60 seconds to get into the ring. And as Savage finally makes his way in, Fuji gives him a shot with the Japanese flag. So Macho ends up only making it into the ring with 2 seconds remaining. Crush stays on the attack, placing Savage in a tree of woe, working the midsection until the ref attempts to get Macho free. And Mr. Fuji then gives Crush a handful of salt. But Savage hits the Hawaiian, sending the salt into his eyes.
Oh my gosh.
So Macho takes advantage with running elbow and a top rope double axe handle. Body slam that sets up the Savage elbow, and Macho rolls Crush to the floor to make the pin at ringside.
It's too close, man.
Fuji grabs a pitcher of water, pouring it on the face of the Hawaiian to wake him up, helping Crush make it back in the ring with 2 seconds to spare. Savage then starts choking the Hawaiian on the top rope, but charges into a backdrop that sends Macho out to the floor. Crush follows out and delivers a headbutt, and tries to ram Savage's head into the ring post, but it is blocked and reversed by Macho.
Take that, Crush.
Savage continues by sending the Hawaiian into the ring steps and clotheslining him over the guardrail into the crowd.
You got to have a crowd spot if we're doing falls count.
Crush hits a thrust kick and goes for a pile driver, only for Macho to counter with a backdrop, followed by slamming the Hawaiian's head into walls and doors leading to the backstage area.
It would have been great if he would put his head between the sliding X doors.
Oh yeah, we're not that brutal yet, but this does go somewhere.
Yeah.
Savage makes a pin, then finds a cable that is laying around, tying Crush up by his feet.
Yeah, he pins him in between I can't think of the term, but just
Scaffolding?
like a metal scaffolding tower type of setup, conveniently right on the other side of the doors.
Hangs him upside down to prevent the Hawaiian from making it back to the ring.
Mm-hmm. Hanging by his toes.
Macho makes it back to the ring where Mr. Fuji attacks him, but Savage takes care of him quickly as the countdown hits 0.
Did you see where he's pulls him up and he just tying the rope off on a piece of metal, and he almost drops Crush, and I was like, no, that's concrete.
So Macho Man Randy Savage is your winner.
Whew.
I mean, we wouldn't have it any other way.
No.
Macho is not at the point of doing a job for Crush. There's plenty of other people that I'd be like, okay, that's fine. He's Macho would easily do the job for Bret Hart or somebody, but Crush.
Putting over the stars of the future, I'm all for it. Yeah. Don't put over Crush, because
Crush is the tall guy that stands next to Yokozuna.
Crush ruined Demolition. I'll never forgive him for that.
Demolition gone too soon.
Yep.
You could also blame them bringing in LOD for no reason. I mean, not no reason, but they didn't do anything with him.
No.
We then go back to the presidential box where Todd Pettengill is there, and he asks the Clinton impersonator if he's enjoying the show. He then asks IRS why he is there, as he was right behind them.
Yeah, I was like, why is IRS there? I was like, oh, duh, we're about to get into something.
Shyster congratulates the impersonator on raising taxes.
I guess it's just Vince McMahon brain, but nobody cares about $1 Million Man, great idea, but tax collector guy? I know we've talked about this a lot, but who is this joke for?
I mean, the evil tax man was a big figure back in the day.
Everyone hates taxes, man.
Yeah, but there's mostly children watching this.
Yeah, but their parents are the ones that are ordering the WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for a guy who spent 25 years working for the IRS before he decided to give it up and open a franchise of Quiznos. And I heard some horror stories about the stuff that he had gone through. And just for anybody listening who is in the tax business, learn about restaurants before you decide to buy a franchise. Because you aren't always going to be lucky enough to stumble upon a 21-year-old with a huge work ethic that wants to help you succeed.
And maybe something better than a Quiznos. I don't know if those are still around.
No, it was the hot thing at the time. Tulsa had one by the time I moved there.
Yeah, what if we toasted a sandwich?
It's so crazy, it just might work.
Pettengill then sends us to some highlights of FanFest. We see Doink in a dunk tank, ring set up with the ref counting a 3 count for a pair of kids.
And Hillbilly Jim's there.
Hillbilly Jim's giving autographs, smoking guns, taking pictures.
You can call a match.
That would be awesome.
I like that part a lot. They did the little kid sumo stuff.
Sumo, there's an action figure display.
My favorite was the huge casket. You take a photo with Paul Bearer in a large casket. It was so good. It looks like a blast, right? It's like a WrestleMania WWF carnival. Inside of probably the base of a hotel or something. It looked awesome.
Hillbilly Jim was the shit back then.
This is your their first thought of access.
Yeah.
Which is a whole week-long thing.
But this looks even cooler. There's a dunk tank. You guys remember dunk tanks?
Oh yeah.
Man, I feel like dunk tanks are
especially Doink in a dunk tank.
Yeah, a doink tank, if you will.
Vince then sends us to Savage celebrating in the Paramount Theater, which is part of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he's next door where they're basically have a runoff. They're watching the show.
They're watching the show on closed circuit TV, and he goes over there and basically cuts a promo for them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We then get another Coliseum video, WrestleMania moment, covering WrestleMania 4. And we see Macho making his way through his 4 opponents on the evening to become champion.
Ooh.
Such great times.
Yep. I miss those days.
And you can hear us talk all about that in episode 18.
If Hogan just I don't know, got hurt or quit wrestling early and was I'm just not going to do this anymore, or became an action star or something, we could have had maybe 10 years of Macho Man on top. How cool would have that been?
Instead, we got 8.5 months.
I know. Every time, those first handful of years we went through, there's nothing more than I wanted than for Randy to have the strap.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime it happened, it was great. But he also doesn't need it.
No.
But I want him to have it more than anyone else.
He did very well for himself after that, even through his retirement match and re-emergence into the ring.
And all that Slim Jim money, guys.
Damn right. Look at the fringe he can buy with all that Slim Jim money.
We then go to our 4th match. Leilani Kai versus Alyundra Blayze for the WWF Women's Championship.
Been a while since we've seen some women's championships.
I know.
Specifically, it was WrestleMania 2.
I know. Wow.
Episode 7.
I guess we had some women's tag matches, but I don't even know if those were on WrestleMania. But
we had Rockin' Robin sing the America the Beautiful or something on WrestleMania 5.
But was Leilani Kai in WrestleMania 2?
She was in 1, I remember.
Yeah, she was on 1.
Okay.
But the last time we did see her was Royal Rumble 1988 in one of those tag matches that you were talking about with the Jumping Bomb Angels. And that was episode 16. And of course, Alyundra Blayze is Medusa.
Yeah, of course it's Medusa.
Who we literally just saw confronting Sherry a few episodes ago in ECW. She had won the title the previous December, where the only match of the entire tournament was shown on All American Wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, Alyundra Blayze. It's whoa, what a name. She's Medusa, but I mean, whatever. You got to give her a new name here. But they give her Pyro, so they mean business this week with Alyundra Blayze.
From being underneath Greg Valentine to the top of the wrestling world. Look at our girl go.
Well, now she's. I don't know if it's the top, but she's on top of the monster truck world.
So the match gets going, and a leg sweep takes Kai down. But she comes back with a shoulder tackle and sends Blayze to the corner, and charging in only for Alyundra to leap up and over for a sunset flip for a 2 count. Blayze is running the ropes and hits a running sunset flip for another 2 count. But Leilani comes back with a double chokehold before hitting a body slam for 2. Alyundra comes off the ropes with a hurricanrana for a near fall. But Kai comes back with a series of snapmares before tossing Blayze out to the floor. Back in the ring, Leilani tosses Alyundra by her hair before hitting a double underhook suplex for a 2 count.
And Jerry Lawler is just talking so much trash on Alyundra Blayze here. He says that she could star in TV westerns if she had 2 more legs. And I just wish I could have rang his neck through my television screen talking about Medusa that way.
Basically kept saying she had a horse face.
I know she doesn't have a horse face. She's a wonderfully beautiful lady and strong to boot.
Blayze ducks a clothesline and comes off the ropes with one of her own. Starts firing up to hit a spinning heel kick and a suplex for a near fall. Alyundra stays on the attack with a pair of snapmares before hitting a bridging German suplex for the pin and the win. And as she celebrates her victory, we see a row of legends in the crowd, such as Freddie Blassie, Lou Albano, Nikolai Volkov, and of course, Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young.
I know. I was like, look at all these guys. Look at Lou. I don't think he had any shit on his face this time.
Yeah. He still had one.
Oh yeah,
down here.
the rubber band
the rubber
chin.
band on his chin.
Yeah.
We then get another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment, this time for WrestleMania 5. We're at the Trump Plaza, and Roddy Piper returns to have a segment with Brother Love and Mort Downey Jr.
I know, I love the smoking in the ring.
Downey.
And all I really remember was that this segment went on for like 20 minutes.
Yes.
They could have had like 2 matches in the time they did this Morton Downey Jr. thing.
This was the
And I don't even
line is long, so keep going because they're not back to their seats yet.
I don't even know what the angle was. I just know they smoked and it took a long time.
It was basically for Roddy Piper because
He hadn't been,
there in a while.
WrestleMania 3.
And you can hear all of our thoughts about that on episode 28, which I remember me and Michael having a very long and conversation about this segment.
Not as long as the segment. So that's
Not as long as the segment, but it got heated.
Oh, yeah? Did I like it?
You liked it way more than I did.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. I like it anytime people smoke inside on television. I don't want to be there.
Face.
Yeah.
But it returns to Vince laughing, and all I could think of was him saying, "That's some good S word." We then get Todd Pettengill in the back, joined by Rhonda Shear, host of USA's Up All Night.
Up all night.
Who else is there?
Shawn Michaels walks in to interrupt immediately to start flirting with Rhonda.
Of course.
They have a photographer there to take a picture, when all of a sudden Burt Reynolds shoves Shawn out of the way to cock blocking.
Yeah, and tells him to shave his chest.
Burt shills for FanFest, and Shear asks him to go with her. He says he will take her wherever she wants to go, and Rhonda faints.
Were you USA Up All Night guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a little young for it, but I did catch a few, but they just played trash movies for the most part.
That was the glory of USA Up All Night. It was the celebration of B, C, and D.
Yeah, where else are you going to
movies.
catch a Toxic Avenger 2 on television?
Yeah. Or I can't remember what the hell the name of it was. It's like Getting Lucky or something like that, about a guy who is able to shrink down and he hides inside of the girl he's got a crush on at one point.
Oh, that rules.
in her underwear.
That rocks.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
great.
There's one scene where he's hanging on to these fake hairs because it was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid mixed
But
into
Herbie,
a
that sounds like my kind of movie.
a Skinamax type
Yeah,
show.
That's great.
There was another one that I remember I actually bought a copy of.
Oh, you're going hardcore there, bro.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Because
I
it was
should
one
get
of those. I saw it and it was like, it's $5. It was one of those grindhouse classics that I had to get.
I just had a great idea. Once we finish all of wrestling history, we should do the whole USA Up All Night lineup, every movie they ever watched, where we'll watch it and talk about it.
Oh shit!
So if wrestling ever just ceases to exist, we got that in the pipeline.
We then go to our fifth match. Men on a Mission
Mom herself.
of Mabel and Mo with Oscar versus the Quebecers of Jacques and Pierre with Johnny Polo for the WWF Tag Team Championship.
They're not the Mounties.
But they come out to that music.
Yeah. I mean, Mounties is a better name than Quebecers.
Yeah. Well, I want to say that's what their song says: is "We're not the Mounties."
Oh, we're not the Mounties.
Yeah, they just changed the Mountie song.
We get our rap tune, of course. It even says Whoop Day It Is on Mom's gear. And Oscar lets us know that MSG is the place to be, which is basically all he really says in his rap tune. I feel like PN News may have been better at rapping.
A little bit.
I mean, neither of them are, Christopher Wallace, R.I.P., but...
They had a good hype behind them, but as far as the actual rap skills go, it's kind of hit and miss.
Yeah. Mostly miss.
Yeah.
But hey, whoop, there it is.
So the Quebecers attack before the bell, and Pierre hits a second rope double axe handle on Mabel, while Mo is tossed to the floor. Mabel comes right back with a double clothesline on the Canadians. Mo's back in the ring and hits a crossbody on Pierre. Men on a Mission with a combo drop toe hold leg drop and a double elbow drop.
Mom's getting fancy.
Mm-hmm.
As the ref is getting Mabel out of the ring, Jacques comes in to attack Mo. Pierre chokes him with the tag rope before Jacques hits a body slam and back body drops Pierre onto Mo for a 2 count.
Attaboy.
Mo is thrown to the floor, and the Quebecers do the backdrop spot once again.
It looks great.
The over-the-top rope.
And Vince McMahon freaks out. Never
What a
seen anything
maneuver.
like this before.
I mean, it was really nice.
Yeah.
It was well executed.
Double stun gun by the Quebecers. Pierre misses a clothesline, allowing Mo to hit a cannonball kick. But Jacques makes his way into the ring to cut off a tag attempt and hits a body slam. Pierre goes for a leg drop from the top rope, only for Mo to move to avoid, and rolls to his corner for the
warm tag. Wasn't that hot?
Mabel with clotheslines on both Quebecers, backdrop on Pierre, sidewalk slam on Jacques, and goes for an avalanche splash. But Pierre moves, allowing the Quebecers to try for a double vertical suplex.
It's a big boy.
But Mabel is just too much. After some kicks, they try again, and this time they do get him over. Pierre follows with an assisted senton bomb for a near fall.
Let this be a lesson, kids. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
I know Johnny Polo out on the corner with the yeses, and I was like, oh, is this where Daniel Bryan got it from?
Mabel and Pierre trade blows when Jacques comes in and jumps on Mabel's back, allowing Pierre to attempt an attack, only to hit Jacques in the process. Mabel continues with a spinning heel kick on Pierre and a clothesline on Jacques. Mo then bulldogs Mabel on top of Jacques.
Whoop, day it is.
Makes the cover, but the ref is distracted by Johnny Polo. Oscar's trying to pull Polo down from the apron when Pierre goes to make the save. But Mo sees him coming and moves out of the way, allowing Jacques to take the blow. Mo clotheslines Pierre over the ropes to the floor, followed by Mo bulldogging Mabel on top of him. Polo pulls Jacques out of the ring, and the ref counts the Quebecers out.
I know, it's such a bummer because this match is like really good. And I'm like, I want to know. This is like way better than you would expect it to be. Like, it's quick. They do a bunch of stuff. It all looks good. And then it's all over too soon.
So post-match, Men on a Mission celebrate with the belts despite not actually winning them.
Ugh, I would have loved a mom win here.
Yeah. Well, there they go.
Aww.
And this would be the last time we see the Quebecers for about 2 years. And the last time we see the character of Johnny Polo.
Ooh.
I wonder what he's got up his sleeve.
I forgot the Quebecers have a little comeback a while later.
Yeah, well, he's going to go, Johnny Polo's going to have a real transformation. I think maybe he went and saw The Crow one too many times.
Got deep into those.
Yeah. Went to an Alice in Chains concert.
Forms a nest.
Yeah.
A flock.
That's in WCW, sir.
That's right.
We're not quite there yet.
True.
It's a nest.
I skipped
first.
a somewhere. A something.
You have to build a home for your flock.
We get another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment covering WrestleMania 6, where we're at the Toronto Sky Dome.
Title versus title.
Warrior versus Hogan, and the respect shown after the match. And you can hear our thoughts about that in episode 44.
Chances are there was probably a pretty incredible Warrior promo, because there always is.
There are, yeah.
So that means that Matt had lots of fun that
Yeah. Talking about heaven or clouds and stuff. Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Coke Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. I mean, I'm sure that those guys went in on a bag a few times.
Howard Finkel then introduces our guest celebrities for our next match. The timekeeper will be Rhonda Shear.
Woo!
And the guest ring announcer will be Donnie Wahlberg, who heads up the group NKOTB.
Oh, NKOTB. NKOTB.
Were you not an NKOTB guy?
Don't get me wrong. I love the New Kids on the Block. NKOTB? No.
Literally, they kept saying NKOTB, and I was all like, why doesn't he just say New Kids on the Block?
Yeah, you got to say it the first time, and then you can say it.
I literally was informed that they just shortened it to NKOTB at one point.
Really? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just know the song "Hangin' Tough," and I know that they were a big deal, but I was just kind of like too young for it. Like,
they're trying to be taken
a little more serious.
and
serious
they're not kids anymore.
Yeah, as serious as Donnie's goatee. If you want to be serious, then you don't go by Donnie anymore. You just become Donald.
They didn't want to lose the New Kids
Or
on the
Don.
Block name in general, but they didn't want to be referred to as
Adults
kids
on the
anymore.
Block just sounds like a weird sex thing.
So NKOTB just...
They could have been the teens on
It was
the
unnecessary.
corner.
TOTC.
Just call yourself the Block.
Yeah. The Block.
Yeah.
Sure.
You could be famous for
you
founding Jenny.
Could have just took the money and ran. Not kids anymore. We'll just move on. Or maybe swap people in and out like Menudo.
Well, they hadn't really learned the
life.
Let's try a solo career.
Oh
yet,
yeah.
so.
This was like early boy band. Like we don't know how long this goes.
Yeah. I think it was still another 8 or 10 years before they tried the even solo experiment, but NKOTB was
at this
not
point they were
successful.
still hanging tough.
Yes, they were barely hanging.
But we get our 6th match. Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette versus Lex Luger for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship with Mr. Perfect as a special guest referee.
Look at that standing ovation for Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, I totally forgot Perfect was involved with this match.
Oh, would you like to hear a very fun thing that Jerry Lawler said
Always.
Of course.
about Rhonda Shear?
Uh-oh.
He let us know that blew in her ear, and she said thanks for the refill. I was like, all right,
Jerry.
we're getting more and more foul every show. And, of course, Jerry's going to be the guy to really kick that off.
Oh, yeah.
So the last time we saw Mr. Perfect was all the way back at SummerSlam 1993, which was episode 100.
Seems like so much longer.
I don't know. It's always too long in between Kurt Hennig anything.
I'm not gonna lie though, the striped jumpsuit or whatever the hell it was he was
Yeah,
wearing.
that was not good.
Oh yeah,
good at all.
it's like pants, all like full pants, not shorts,
Shirt tucked in
striped
pants.
with the shirt all striped. He looks crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you got to do
Just do the shirt.
just the shirt, not the pants too.
Okay. The champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
I mean,
Interesting.
Yoko should have worked harder at Fat Camp,
Like they probably had him come out first.
or maybe that's
just
where he's
to make
going.
sure he made it to there.
So the two men stare each other down, with Yoko putting his finger in Lex's chest. But Luger comes back with right hands and ducks a clothesline, delivering one of his own, but it only phases Zuna. So Lex goes for another, but is taken down by a clothesline from Yokozuna.
And I mean, I just got to say, craziest Jim Cornette outfit we've seen. He's black and gold, but he's got like almost like a Dracula, like a cowl thing going off on his back. It is great.
It's like Luna helped him pick out his wardrobe or something.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, but can we add some gold, Luna? And she was like, sure.
Yeah, and is there any way you could make it like really stiff around the neck where it could possibly poke me in the eye?
Elbow drop misses, followed by a Luger right hand that sends Yoko to the floor. Lex comes off the apron with a double axe handle before ramming Zuna's head multiple times into the steel steps. Back in the ring, Luger comes off the top with a crossbody for a 2 count. Continues with an elbow drop, but Yokozuna comes right back with a chop to the throat and starts to choke Lex on the ropes. Luger ducks a clothesline, goes for a body slam, but is unable to lift him. So Yoko just falls on top of him
This
for a 2 count.
This isn't the USS Intrepid.
No.
But you should be able to do it in Madison Square Garden, guy.
Zuna with a headbutt slams his head into the turnbuckle and decides to remove the padding before going back to work with a chop and a trap hole.
Some trap hole.
Oh my gosh, like we've said a lot about trap holds, but Yoko maybe has the worst trap hold.
A little bit.
At least Lex has traps.
Lex escapes momentarily, only to run into a shoulder block and a series of chops before the trap hold is put back on.
Jerry Lawler lets us know that somewhere that somewhere there's a Toyota with no seat covers, because that's how big Yokozuna's pants are.
Swing and a miss, Jerry. Swing and a miss.
Yokozuna finally releases the hold, tossing Luger out to the floor, where Fuji gets a shot in. And back in the ring, more chops and trap holds until Lex fires up, only to run into a belly-to-belly suplex.
I know, it's like, you doing a trap hold because, like, Lex is too tall, but it's like, he can lean down. You can do a side headlock. It's like the most important move in wrestling, or at least it was for like 100 years, or like 80 years.
Yoko goes to ram Luger's head into the exposed turnbuckle. Lex blocks and reverses for Zuna to meet the steal.
What is it? He who sets up gimmick takes gimmick?
Basically. Followed by a trio of clotheslines and a body slam to get Yokozuna down to the mat. Luger hits the bionic forearm, which brings Cornette and Fuji onto the apron. So Lex slingshots Corny into the ring before knocking Fuji down.
I love that Lex tapped the elbow to let everybody know it was going down.
That's right.
Lex then goes for a cover, but Perfect is trying to get both managers out of the ring,
It's keeping it straight and narrow.
which makes Luger mad. So he gets in Perfect's face, shoves him, which is enough for Perfect to call for the disqualification.
So does that mean the next show we get Lex versus Kurt Hennig? I'd like to see that.
Just maybe.
Possibly.
I'd love to see Kurt Hennig Perfect Lex Luger.
The crowd is not happy.
Of course not. This is a title match.
I think they're yelling something. Anybody
A little
want
bit.
Is it bullshit?
Bullshit.
Is this our first bullshit chant?
I do believe.
I think there has been some other ones,
Okay.
especially in some of those WCW Dusty Finish matches.
Oh yeah, it's like we've had some curse words
This
yelled.
might be our first
for
Mania
sure.
bullshit.
Yeah.
So in the upcoming weeks, Perfect would explain that he screwed Lex because he wanted revenge for Luger's illegal win at WrestleMania 9.
See, I was trying to remember. I thought they had a match at 9.
This was done to set up a feud between them. Unfortunately, Perfect's back problems flared up again, aka he was still receiving insurance money and didn't want to cost him.
Yeah. He's like, well, my insurance money is working better than what I'll probably get from Vince.
Yeah.
But he will be back as a commentator and referee over the next couple of years, but he doesn't wrestle again in the WWF for about 8 years.
So sad. It makes me very sad.
But we do go back to the back, and Todd Pettingill's there with Mr. Perfect. And Todd says he wants an explanation. And Perfect says Lex put his hands on the official, which
True.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
And Luger then storms to the back and interrupts. They start yelling at each other and have to be separated.
Would that have led to a Luger heel turn? Or would Perfect have
It was a
become the heel?
perfect heel turn.
I'm pretty sure this is
I don't enjoy that as much.
I think it was Colin Quinn that said it, but on like,
Remote control? Or...
no, the Weekend Update or whatever, but Mr. Perfect said, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And all I could think about was SNL reruns on Comedy Central as a kid. But was that Colin Quinn that said it? Was that his? I think that was his call.
Trying to remember
His
what
update.
Colin was only Weekend Update for
one
a
season.
short amount of time. So I don't
He
remember.
was, but
Yeah,
he's kind of
he came in
he's low key
after-
kind of my favorite.
Like Norm Macdonald, I hated, and when Norm Macdonald got
I
fired,
love Norm Macdonald.
I was so happy.
Blasphemy over here.
I mean, Norm Macdonald
was
is
the best
his
one.
is not
Norm
is
Macdonald
Norm Macdonald's
was-
comedy is not for everybody, but it's definitely for me.
Norm Macdonald on SNL, I just couldn't do because
He was too weird.
he was way too dry.
I love it.
For my liking, to the point that it got annoying after a while.
He's a genius. I love him. He's too good for SNL, is my opinion.
Maybe
But-
that was it.
But
He didn't fit.
yeah, I can see that for sure.
Just tell me you're not a Dennis Miller guy.
No, he's annoying.
Dennis
Okay.
Miller on SNL now. I like him in other stuff.
Okay.
And I don't like
Like The Net.
is it Dennis Leary, the Boston guy? I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that fucking
But he
Dennis.
was in a Saturday
I know,
Night
but
Live.
just guys named Dennis that do comedy. It's like fucking these guys suck. Dennis Leary fucking sucks. Dennis Miller fucking sucks.
We then get another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment, this time covering WrestleMania 7. And we get the LA Sports Arena, and we see the blindfold match between Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick the Model Martel.
You guys remember how good that was?
It was such a good match. And you can hear us talk
Rick
even
Martel.
more about it in episode 54.
54.
I wish that the arrogance stayed in the air longer.
I've always wanted to get one of those little pump mister thingies.
An atomizer?
Is that what they're called?
I think so.
Yeah.
When's your birthday? I'll get you an atomizer. Well, I don't know how much they cost. So.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam?
Howard Finkel then introduces Harvey Whippleman. And Harvey comes out and he starts berating the Fink, ripping his tux jacket, so Howard shoves him on his ass.
Hell yeah, Fink.
But then Adam Bomb comes running out and grabs the Fink, which brings Earthquake rumbling out to the ring. So we get our 7th match. Adam Bomb with Harvey Whippleman versus Earthquake. And we haven't seen Earthquake since the Royal Rumble 1993, which was episode 86. Quake hits a belly-to-belly suplex, a power slam, and an Earthquake splash for the pin and the win.
Nothing like a surprise squash match with none other than John Tenta himself.
Yeah. So this match I totally forgot about.
I believe you.
Even during this watch back here, because apparently this one happened when I got up to get a drink. Because I remember the beginning. I remember the beginning of it with Harvey Whippleman coming down there and having the shoving match
You
between.
call him Fink? Yeah, he said he had monkey ears and making fun of Fink.
But as
mess
I
with
was
Fink.
looking through these notes here when we started the show, it was like, wait, they actually had a match? I don't remember seeing this.
Yeah, it's like he came in and slammed him and they just called it a
We're
match.
going to
Yeah.
call it
A match.
match.
Yeah, I called it a surprise squash.
literally and figuratively.
But hey, Adam Bomb got a paycheck.
We then go to the locker room and Todd Pettingill's there, and he's joined by Jim Cornette, Yokozuna, and Mr. Fuji. And Corny says, "Who still has the belt?" Luger thought he had it won, but Mr. Perfect was wonderful at officiating. Bret Hart, it's not a question if you're going to win. It's a question if you're still going to be able to wrestle. Yokozuna is hungry, and he's gonna be the shark. The ring is the ocean, and Hitman is the chum that causes the feeding frenzy.
And I'm going to have to jump in here. Great promo by Jimmy C, but he quotes Ian Anderson. He even says the musician and poet Ian Anderson once said, he who made kittens put snakes in the grass, which is wild. Most people probably don't know who Ian Anderson is, but I do because I grew up with the shit. But he's the lead singer of the rock group Jethro Tull, and that is a lyric from a song, but he didn't even say the name of the band, doesn't even say that it's from a song. He calls him like musician or philosophizer and poet, and I shit my pants. I had to send the clip to my dad, and I was like, he quoted a lyric from Bungle in the Jungle, like a not popular, like I think it was probably a single off of an album in '74, but it wasn't the like 2 Jethro Tull songs that people actually know, which is Locomotive Breath and Aqualung, and I shit my pants. There's not many things I'm probably the biggest Jethro Tull fan outside of my dad in all of Oklahoma City, is all I'm saying. So it was really cool, and like I was like, oh, it's nice to know that one of my favorite people in all of wrestling was listening to Jethro Tull on cassette between towns.
We then get another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment, this time for WrestleMania 8. And we get the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, and the Undertaker appears.
Boom.
You can hear us talk about that in episode 68.
You know what I would love to learn how to play on a keyboard is the Undertaker theme.
That would be good.
I know. I might have to look up a video. I think there's a keyboard in my house. But I feel like that would be like not very hard, but very rewarding, and something you really wouldn't probably do again. But there's no way I'd forget it once I
They
learn
have
it.
like a Guitar Hero version.
Oh yeah, I guess I could probably learn on guitar, but I just want to have the fake Casio organ sound.
But we then get our 8th match. Shawn Michaels with Diesel versus Razor Ramon in a ladder match for the undisputed WWF Intercontinental Championship.
For the real, to find out who the real champion is. There's 2 belts hanging above the ring, and the ladder is not in the ring, which is a great way to start.
So does the champion come out first?
Who's the real champion?
It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, there are no rules to this match, and the only way to win is to ascend a ladder and grab both belts. So the match gets going, with Shawn grabbing a hammerlock, but it's quickly countered descending to the ropes, where the two men both go for hip tosses, which are both blocked. So Ramon grabs the throat for a choke slam. Michael starts running the ropes and ducks a clothesline, coming back with a running neckbreaker. Razor hits a shoulder tackle and goes to run the ropes himself, but Shawn just tosses him through the ropes to the floor, where Diesel begins to stalk the bad guy, hitting a clothesline, which earns himself an ejection from the referee.
Dun, dun, dun.
Get out of here, Diesel.
Back in the ring, Ramon goes on the attack with right hands and a clothesline that sends HBK out to the floor, where Razor follows out, removing the protective mats around ringside.
Careful. We know what happened the last time somebody decided to, remove a pad, I guess.
Cactus Jack did a back.
Oh, yeah, back splat. And then, I guess...
I know you're referring to Hogan.
Yeah. I mean, Yoko took it, but he made it out all right. Basically unscathed.
Shawn, with a rake of the eyes to gain advantage, rolls the bad guy back into the ring, where he continues the attack until Ramon hits a big right hand and sets up for the Razor's Edge. But Michaels counters with a back body drop out onto the concrete floor.
Damn.
As you said, he who removes it must receive it.
Exactly.
I know.
HBK goes out to retrieve the ladder, dragging it back to ringside, when the bad guy sneaks up from behind with a right hand, rolling Shawn back into the ring. Ramon then grabs the ladder to place inside the ring, but Michaels baseball slides the ladder into Razor's gut.
Ooh, and we get our, first real,
Ladder cringe.
first real ladder cringe. Yeah, this is our first ladder match that we've watched, and is it the first ladder match
On pay-per-view?
in general? I mean, I feel this feels like something that they probably did in Memphis or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, in
It's not obviously not the first one ever, but
Yeah, in WWF, I believe this was the first televised pay-per-view ladder match. I know Shawn and Bret had one at one point on a house show somewhere.
They were to test it out or whatever. All I'm saying is, one ladder, two guys is so much better than what we've devolved into.
HBK slams the bad guy's head into the steel steps before rolling him in, gathers the ladder up into the ring as well. Using the ladder, Shawn then rams Ramon in the gut multiple times before slamming it down on his back and throwing it across the ring onto Razor's back.
It's getting reckless.
Why is it that friends who wrestle beat the shit out of each other so much more than guys who actually hate each other?
They trust
They
each
trust
other.
each other.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but-
It's like, Vader's gonna shoot on you anyway. But some guys they might get a little stiff. But there's friendship is good.
Yeah.
Michaels sets the ladder up to start climbing, but the bad guy reaches up, grabbing him by his trunks, exposing his bare ass.
HBK booty.
Only for Heartbreak Kid to kick Ramon away before delivering an elbow drop off the ladder. Shawn sets the ladder up in the corner now, delivering a body slam to Razor before heading to the top of the ladder to hit a splash. Back to the middle of the ring with the ladder, but the bad guy pushes the ladder over, sending Michaels across the top rope. Both men start running the ropes, only to run into each other for the double KO, with HBK up first, again positioning the ladder in the corner.
And I love the incredible eagle eye view of the belts, the ladder, both guys just laid out.
Shawn goes for an Irish whip, only for Ramon to reverse, sending Michaels flying into the ladder and over the top rope to the floor. Razor then takes the ladder to the outside, sandwiching HBK in between the ring post and the ladder multiple times. Shawn ends up in the aisle, so the bad guy sets the ladder up against the apron before catapulting Michaels into it. Back in the ring, Ramon bashes HBK in the jaw with the ladder, sends him back out to the floor, so Razor sets the ladder up and begins the climb, only for Shawn to climb to the top turnbuckle, jumping off with a double axe handle that collapses the ladder. The ladder is set up again, with both men climbing to the top. They're trading blows before the bad guy suplexes Michaels off to the mat.
I know. Isn't that a lot?
But he ends up losing his balance and falls off the ladder as well.
Every time I watch that part, it always makes me nervous. Just because he falls from a good ways up there, and the ladder looks like it kind of...
Oh, the ladder breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes...
The legs go opposite directions, and...
It definitely, like, does the twist bend.
Ramon starts climbing back up, but HBK hits the ladder with a drop kick, causing Razor to lose his balance and fall off again.
And if it wasn't bent, it sure is now.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by just dropping it on top of the bad guy. Both men are back to their feet, and Shawn hits a super kick, mimics the call for the Razor's Edge, but hits a pile driver instead. Michaels then takes the ladder to a corner, climbs up to the top rope, coming off with a splash of the ladder across Ramon.
Yeah, he like rides the ladder down timber style right across them, and oh my god! To quote the great Joey Styles.
Oh my god!
Thank you, Matt.
HBK sets the ladder up over the prone body of Razor, begins to climb, but the bad guy gets to his feet, hitting a shoulder block to the ladder, sending Shawn into the ropes to crotch himself, and becoming all tangled up by his feet.
Oh my gosh.
Damn it.
Ramon climbs the ladder, removes the belts from the brass ring before falling back to the mat for the win.
It's incredible.
And unified!
Oh, unified. But
But
both
he's not
men,
new. He was
yeah,
already a
no,
champion.
he already was the champ. Both men flat on the mat, and I love that. Like when they came out, Razor walked around the ladder. Shawn walked under the ladder because he's a cocky son of a bitch, and then he puts the ladder over him again later. Double bad luck, as Jerry Lawler informs us, and it's like, yeah, Shawn, flew too close to the sun. You can't fucking pat yourself on the back all the time.
Post-match, Razor climbs back up to the top of the ladder to celebrate.
Yeah, he looks fucking awesome. I mean, both these guys look great, but Razor's just so huge, and the ladder is so rickety. The ref is like stabilizing it for him, but he does a pretty good job of like standing in front of it to like be like, oh yeah, it's him. I'd raise his hand, but you know, he deserves to be up there doing this right now.
So there was a rumor that this was supposed to be Shawn Michaels' last match with the WWF.
Because, I mean, Shawn Michaels, of course, was a gigantic asshole and kind of, like, went away and came back a few times. Like, when we watched the Bret Hart family match with that was supposed to be Jerry Lawler, but he had some legal troubles, was when Shawn had just came back from one of his fits or whatever.
Yeah, he got called back early to help out for it.
Yeah, so he's probably about to go on another fit, is what you're telling me.
No, actually, he was actually about to sign down south.
Oh, wow.
As they were wrestling down in WCW.
Yeah, and also they got Ted Bucks now.
But Michaels caught wind of a certain orange goblin.
And he was smart enough to know he could get himself over.
And didn't want to deal with the backstage politics that would bring.
Yeah, it's like, you're not going to be a champion there.
Hurricane Hogan coming through and eating up all the money.
So he stuck with Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And that is history.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good for Shawn to know better.
Exactly.
Because Shawn Michaels in WCW, like, it probably would have gone down in the way that Bret Hart moving to WCW in the future, spoiler alert, worked out for him, where we lost some incredible years of one of the best to fucking do it.
Not one. The...
Yeah, I mean, you know.
We missed out on what could have been some good matches, I'm sure, because... Yeah.
We would have seen
Shawn
some Shawn
and
Sting,
Pillman.
Shawn and Pillman,
Yeah.
Shawn and Brick.
Young Shawn and younger Flair would have been pretty great together.
But yeah, we all like
Shawn and Vader. Oh, we might still see that one at some
Yeah.
point, but you know what I'm saying.
We'll see some of them, but yeah, just the thought of what if they rebuilt the Hollywood Blondes with Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin?
Yeah, what about... I just want to see Shawn Michaels versus all those... I want to see him, I guess, teaming with Paul Orndorff. Or one of them going... I mean, Paul Orndorff's not going to go face, but Shawn Michaels face versus... or him going in down as a heel and having a match with Dustin. There's so many, all of, WCW right now, right before the Orange Goblin comes in, has a roster so incredibly good and deep that it's like, oh, these... I can name, 5 guys down there right now, and it's like, oh, these guys at this point in time, I'm in love with all of it, and...
It makes me wonder what they would have called him. I don't know. Because he most likely wouldn't have been Shawn Michaels.
I'm sure it would have been good.
Who knows?
Yeah, but hey, we don't have to worry about that.
That's the fun part of wrestling. All the bullshit behind the scenes is just as fun as the stuff that happens in the ring, especially as time goes on. It becomes almost more interesting than a lot of the stuff in the ring. But, it is what it is.
McMahon then sends it to the back, and we see IRS, Jeff Jarrett, Rick Martel, and the Head Shrinkers arguing in the locker room about who should be the captain. And then we go back to Vince, and he says, well, I guess we're not going to have the 10-man tag match since they can't decide on a captain.
Yes! I was like, oh man, the only thing that could pull this show down, that's just been moving at a clip, everything's been fun, everyone knows that they're performing at the 10th WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It seems like everybody that's shown up in that ring is aware of what's going on, and they're bringing it, and a 10-man tag. I just couldn't have been happier when he told me that we weren't going to have a 10-man tag.
But they were scheduled to face the 1-2-3 Kid, Sparky Plug, Tatanka, and the Smoking Guns, but it was canceled due to time constraints. But you can go watch it on the Raw after WrestleMania. They actually did have it on that show.
Okay.
If you really want to.
I mean, I like Bob. I like 1-2-3. I'm like, ooh, all right.
Bob Holly has actually said in his book that the ladder match was told to go to finish, but Shawn and Razor just ignored the ref.
Well, you know what?
And they went long.
Yeah.
They did the right thing.
Yes. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Scott.
We salute you.
Yeah.
As great as, and memorable as 1-2-3 Kid, Sparky Plug, Tatanka, and the Smoking Guns versus IRF, Double J, Rick Martel, and the Head Shrinkers could have possibly been. Not that it would have been anything that great, but sorry you weren't able to go to the restroom in live attendance for those of you that were there watching the show.
I mean, there's a reason one of the few VHS tapes I had was the best of WrestleMania. This was one of the matches on it. This is the only match on the show that I'd seen before, but they picked this one for a reason.
Vince then sends it to Todd Pettengill, who's back in the presidential box with Bill Clinton-ish. Todd points out another guest in the box is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Before sending us to another Coliseum video WrestleMania moment for WrestleMania 9, where we see Caesar's Palace, the world's largest toga party.
An elephant.
Caesar riding out on his elephant.
The voice of Gorilla Monsoon.
Macho Man being fed grapes by some lovely ladies. And Mr. Fuji throwing salt in Bret Hart's eyes.
Motherfucker.
And you can hear us talk all about that in episode 88. Vince then sends us to a video package. And we see Bret Hart coming out to the ring, slapping hands with fans, pictures of him as a small boy, before wrestling highlights are intertwined with shots of him and Stu Hart in the dungeon.
Which is very funny because it's not real, because it's Stu Hart today. So, and then it's 2 little kids that they got to do it. It's probably I don't know, Bret's kid or niece or nephews or whatever. But it's funny because it's that's not real footage, but it's very funny and it's kind of cool.
Could be a young David Hart Smith or
there you
whatever.
go.
We then get highlights of Yokozuna destroying everybody in the ring, including Hogan and The Undertaker.
One thing I noticed in the package was they didn't show any of the Hart Foundation footage with Bret Hart. Which they just showed him singles. It's he was here tearing it up before then too. But I understand it's singles Bret Hart.
Yeah. Once he moved into the championship scene, you had to forget.
Yeah,
that
I
he
just
was
figured
once a
we get
tag
like
team
one
wrestler.
one finisher from the Hart Foundation, heart attack. But nope.
Bill Dunn then introduces some more celebrity guests.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest timekeeper for the main event is Jenny Garth from 90210.
The best part is that the theme song is playing right now in the background on mute.
Perfect.
As Jason Priestley welcomes us to an episode of Beverly Hills 90210.
Let's get a look at Jenny Garth here coming across the screen.
Oh, so cute.
Look at that smile.
I know.
There she is. All right.
Look at those bangs. What
And
a
we're back.
cutie.
And then we get our guest ring announcer, who's Burt Reynolds, who seems to have had a few drinks in the back.
I will.
He'll probably, he probably has a Coors truck behind him at all times.
To throw Norm Macdonald some props, I did like his.
He's Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Not only on
I'll take
SNL, but
S words.
also
I'll take swords.
when he was on My Name Is Earl as Burt Reynolds played a character on there, so he had to come in and play his son.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fun.
It was great.
But we get our 9th match. Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette versus the Hitman, Bret Hart, for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, with Rowdy Roddy Piper as the special guest referee.
Fuck yes. I was so not ready for that.
The Rowdy one has
I
returned.
know. Hot Rod in the ring. I love his No Fear t-shirt. So 94.
So the last time we saw Piper was at SummerSlam 92 playing the bagpipes.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I also love that he pulls off his kilt and then he hugs Bret and it's like, remember that fucking juice match with him and Bret
That's
that was
right.
so good?
Hey,
Bringing
they
it
go
all
way
around.
back. They spent holidays together.
I know.
He's known him since he was a kid.
So good.
And you can see that bagpipe playing all the way back in episode 74.
And go back and find the Bret Hart, Roddy Piper juice-a-thon. I love that match.
Once again, the champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
Fat camp.
So Hart comes out limping, and he climbs into the ring.
You know why he comes out limping? Because Bret Hart is a fucking wrestler.
That's right.
Yoko attacks him with a series of chops and headbutts, but Bret fires back, only to be punched right back down and body slammed. The Hitman again fires up with right hands and a drop kick that wobbles Yokozuna. Tries for a second, but Yoko just shoves it away. Zuna's back on the offense, and he begins to choke Hart across the ropes, biting his forehead, which brings admonishment from Piper. Cornette jumps up on the apron, but Rowdy swings at him, sending him back to the floor.
Fuck out of there, Jim.
Yokozuna with a headbutt and goes for a splash, but Bret moves in time. A series of rights and a headbutt from the Hitman knocks Yoko down, followed by a faceplant. But Zuna comes back with a rake of the eyes. Hart ducks a clothesline, comes back with right hands and a double axe handle across the back for a cover. But Cornette pulls Piper out of the ring to stop the count. So Rowdy just lays out Corny.
Yeah, I love that he pulls him to the ground or whatever, and Roddy Piper does like, what do you expect? And just like lays Corny out, but he does like shrugs the shoulders up and just lays him out, and he's got the biggest fucking smile on his face. Roddy Piper is loving it.
Told you once, not gonna tell you twice.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Yokozuna regains control as Fuji checks on Cornette, delivers a diving headbutt and more chokes, which causes him to get into it with Piper again.
Gotta keep Yoko honest.
Yoko with a leg drop before tossing Bret over the ropes to the floor. Once back in the ring, Zuna stays on the attack with more eye rakes and more biting. Irish whip to the corner and Yokozuna charges in, only for the Hitman to move to avoid, followed by coming off the second rope with a bulldog for a 2 count. Second rope elbow drop, clothesline, and Hart goes back to the second rope.
Still
But
on
it
that
is
leg.
caught this time for a belly-to-belly suplex.
Fuck yes.
Yoko drags Bret to the corner and climbs up to the second rope.
Bonsai!
But the Hitman moves while Zuna slips off the ropes, falling backwards onto his head, allowing Hart to make the cover for the pin and the win. And new! Post-match, Yokozuna stalks after Piper back to the locker room as Pyro starts going off. Bret finally makes it to his feet to celebrate when Lex Luger is suddenly in the ring. Lex extends his hand, and Piper comes back out, and they raise the Hitman's arm.
It's beautiful.
The ring starts filling up with people such as Burt Reynolds, Razor Ramon, 1-2-3 Kid, Sparky Plug, Tatanka, Rhonda Shear. Macho Man Randy Savage then comes into the ring and raises Bret's arm.
Hell yeah.
Followed by Donnie Wahlberg,
And KOTB, baby.
Gorilla Monsoon, Pat Patterson, and even Vince McMahon comes into the ring.
Before Vincent enters the ring, he lets us know that it is a brand new era. And I'm here for it. I got like teary just seeing Gorilla enter the ring because I love him so much and I miss him.
The wrestlers lift Hitman up on his shoulders. But as that's happening, we see Owen Hart making his way down the aisle, staring at the scene in the ring. Savage and Monsoon hold the ropes open for him, but the Rocket just keeps staring. Bret finally sees him before security takes Owen to the back. The camera then scrolls out to see the entire crowd before fading to black.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of WrestleMania 10?
I mean, pacing-wise, like, this is kind of a perfect show.
Yes.
Like, everything in ring is solid. Good, like, incredible to solid. Men on a Mission to Quebecers had no right to have a match that good.
No.
Honestly. It's just, like, it's so well, like I said, paced. They picked the right spot for all the matches, and it was a breeze to watch.
Agreed. Starts off hot, gives you the little slower breaks in there. Even the slower breaks, like you were saying.
Arguably, like the biggest angle of the show is in the first match.
Yes. Yeah, the pacing is great on it. The storytelling is awesome on it. The action in the ring keeps you interested from start to finish. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I don't know if I have anything negative to say off the top of my head.
The mixed tag match perfectly put at the second spot. Like, if it was anywhere else in the show, maybe I could complain about it, but it was where it needed to be. Like, you need something like that after you have, like, an in-ring classic.
Ladder match apparently ran long and did what it should, not only wowing the crowd through an awesome match and story, but then keeping us from having to sit through a 10-man tag match that didn't really need
It's
to
like,
be
how
there in the
much
first
longer
place.
could it have gone? Like, were they just gonna it's supposed to be like 6 minutes, and then a tag match, like a 10-man tag match, has to be fucking at least 8 minutes long. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like the ladder match was long, but maybe it was. I don't know the time on it. I just know that it was anything but boring.
The 10-man would have been mostly making your entrances, and then the match itself would have been done in about 30 seconds.
I don't know. I'm glad. The best thing they could have done for this is the ladder match to go long, because we get a true classic.
I mean, you guys have pretty much mentioned the main reasons why this show is one of the best. It's definitely the best WrestleMania we have seen so far. In the 10?
As far as like start to finish, yes, for sure.
I mean, I love the build-up during WrestleMania 4, but there was a lot of boring matches in that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of great moments on all shows.
We love tournaments.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, there was definitely some duds in that tournament.
There's a tournament we're going to be talking about in the next episode that really wipes the floor with any tournament we've watched that happened in one evening. So it's like most one evening tournaments, you get some gimmicky stuff, some quick stuff to keep it moving or whatever, and we love them. But
it even had the perfect tagline of 10 years in the making. we've been waiting for 10 WrestleManias to have that one perfect WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think we may have just hit it.
I think so.
And you get sent home happy, happy and excited. Fucking a brand new champion.
A brand new champion, a brand new champion who got beat earlier in the night by
Yep.
his brother. So there's an insta build right there for where to go.
It's like the whitest of meat babyface you can have. He lost to his brother in the first match and won the title with a destroyed knee in the second that he never stopped selling from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. Bret Hart, we love you and wrestling misses you.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So give me some of those best moments of the show.
Normally it's hard finding a best moment. I think in this case there are more best than disappointing. So
Dude, Roddy Piper coming out as the guest referee was great. Like that alone, as far as like stuff that's not like in the ring, it's like, oh, that was fucking great.
Yeah, you got the return of Roddy, you've got the return of Perfect. Just that first match in general.
Mm-hmm. No Hogan in sight. Honestly, Lex and Yoko had a good match.
Oh yeah.
Kurt Hennig.
Moment, no
Yeah.
Hogan in sight.
Yeah, Kurt Hennig came out and got a standing ovation.
I take it back. There was Hogan flashbacks, but
Yeah, but I mean, those were just in the Coliseum videos.
Alyundra Blayze getting the pyro.
Oh, I
To
love.
make her seem like she is the fucking big deal.
Yeah.
And then she goes in and looks like a big deal.
Yeah.
Her shit's clean and crisp. And, I know Leilani Kai has been a wrestler for a really long time. She's not at her prime, but she's never looked as clean or crisp as the Jerry Lawler, if you're listening. Beautiful, strong, intelligent, and talented Alyundra Blayze.
Yeah,
Medusa
with only two
calling
legs.
her a horse face, you son of a... I guess she's too old for you, Jerry Lawler. I said it.
How about most disappointing? So
Um,
I think we just basically are like,
This show rules.
this show rules, so like everything's the best moment. But is there anything that was disappointing?
I even thought the Bill stuff was fun, so I don't know, man. Like, I even had a good time with the Clinton crap, which was unnecessary, but I still was fun.
I think one time with the Clinton stuff was good, but like
Well, they had to
kept
do-
going back to
They
it.
had to do IRS and then $1 Million Man, and they should have just did like the $1 Million Man, but you can't just have.
Yeah.
I guess
but I mean, he had
once is
just
enough.
completed his first year as president too, so it was still fairly fresh.
they didn't make a saxophone joke. Surprising.
Most disappointing for me, and I'm just nitpicking on it, but there was a match that had Crush, but that match also had Randy Savage, so
Yeah,
it
there
was
was-
the yin and the yang.
There was only like 2 gimmick matches, and they were both good, and one was just to get Randy on the show, and it was still like really interesting, and it didn't overstay its welcome.
One of the more disappointing things for me, and this is going to be just like one of the like super nitpicky thing.
That Johnny Bad forgot his bad blaster.
No. Who was deciding what highlights to show in these WrestleMania moments?
I don't know. I was confused by some of them
Because
as
like
well.
just
Undertaker is by the ring.
I was
Here's
just
that
like,
moment.
that's your moment
Yeah.
from that like you're basically telling me that this WrestleMania that you're showing me highlights from was shit.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't have shown a Hogan leg drop or something.
Exactly. I'm like
Whether love him or hate him, like it is what it is.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
give
you-
us
wouldn't you
Randy
show-
Savage winning the belt.
I'm like, yeah. We
Or I guess
show
the Hogan leg drop you don't want to
champion
show
holding the belt up basically.
Or
Would be like,
you had that same show right there that had Bret and Piper in a match. Both of them are on this show. Show that.
I was just like, whenever
could
I think
see-
they showed the blindfold match, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh,
that
that's
they're showing
great,
the
yeah.
blindfold match because I like that match. But I'm
Yeah.
like, is that the match people remember from that WrestleMania?
No, Hogan versus Savage.
Exactly. I was just like, huh?
Yeah, where's Elizabeth?
Or
Where's the
Hogan
Mega
versus Savage.
Powers?
Warrior versus Savage. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of it is probably they just didn't want to show Hogan more than they had to, and they're like, well, we're gonna pick one. We do WrestleMania, like Andre.
I mean, that's definitely because I mean, why wouldn't you show Savage and Steamboat? Why wouldn't you show Flair and Savage? Or even Hogan and Sid. Like,
Yeah.
It was one of those things of you can't show that one because Flair is now back in WCW.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they were just
Steamboat's in WCW.
covering their
Snuka,
bases.
who is in ECW, who
Yeah.
Also, you're just
I mean, I
trying to
get
sell
some of it, but
tapes,
it's
I
just
guess.
like-
But it's like if you're trying to sell tapes, you know how you do it? Show an image of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
You show Hogan and Steamboat.
You still own the rights to that footage. So I'm like,
maybe they just want to be like, hey, we don't want to let you. We want to make sure you know Hogan's not fucking locked and loaded for the next WrestleMania.
And one other thing here, just throwing it out there as like a what if. Would Lex Luger had beating Yokozuna and then having Luger and Hart as the final match? What do you think that could have been a better idea? Because those are the two guys that ended up winning at the Rumble.
I would have liked to see that match for sure, but I think that Yoko is slower and Bret had the knee match, and Luger is a much more like he's imposing in an athletic way compared to Yokozuna. That like it might be a little more unbelievable for Bret to pull it out on a healthy Luger.
I think it had to do with, Lex kind of got thrown into the Hogan position and
did not deliver.
Didn't deliver.
Didn't even try to
didn't
deliver.
have the crowd reaction really, and I don't know, the company just didn't. They appeared to be behind him, but they never actually viewed him as a potential contender. So
Luger's the kind of guy that didn't watch wrestling ever and was in wrestling for paycheck. He just didn't understand it. He is a pretty decent wrestler, but that's probably because they threw him directly into the Four Horsemen. So he was surrounded by guys and learned from them, but he just doesn't. His heart's not in it, and
then they'd also have to have him in the books as a former champion as well, even if it was
just the way that Vince really wanted Luger to be the guy. I'm not saying that I was surprised by any means. I'm just kind of throwing out a what if type scenario that would have been interesting, I think, to possibly see that instead of a Yokozuna, because this is the first time we've had the same main event basically in back-to-back WrestleManias. Back-to-back.
What if Luger came out and leg dropped and won?
I mean, Luger came out, and I was kind of like, "Oh, is that what we're about to get?" But
thank God, Bret got it clean, and he got surrounded by basically a bunch of new guys that are up and comers, and Tatanka.
They basically just let the 10-man tag because they were sitting there in the back ready to go out, and they probably actually had the 10-man tag after the show ended as a dark match.
Maybe,
possibly
just because it was on the actual flyer or whatever.
Yeah. Best performer of the night? It's Bret, right?
Yeah. Bret did it twice. We give it to Bret, and then we give it the second place.
Owen.
Second place is a tie between like Owen, Razor, and Shawn, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like they all had one match. They can have the second spot, and
Bret did it twice.
Bret did it twice, and he said, "I said one of the best," and you said one of the best. It's like Bret also did it the best.
Anything surprising on this show?
Apparently there was an atom bomb and earthquake match.
Yeah, there was a good amount of surprises throughout this show, just like with, didn't expect a Savage match, didn't expect Earthquake to show up, didn't expect Kurt Hennig or Roddy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like fun stuff like that, or even like fucking Burt Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Or
Jenny Garth,
or
like Rhonda Shear, I could totally get because she was
on the network
on USA.
Yeah.
And they like C-list celebrities.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You gotta make USA happy because they may cheapen your.
And at the very least, it's like, oh well, she has really big boobs and she's hot, so they put her in like some, like a crazy pink dress and put her next to Burt Reynolds. Like at the very least, she's eye candy, and it puts over a show. And how are you gonna sell bad movies without breasts?
I'm still upset that they didn't have the cast of silk stockings on one WrestleMania.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Holy shit! It's that time again?
Oh yes.
This week, the category is the numbers game.
The numbers game. What I say?
Trying to remember what the numbers game is, but you
8.
can tell us. So
Sometimes it's a number, sometimes it's the name of a wrestler based off of a number.
316.
Close.
I think my go-to answer is 54.
Okay.
So 5 points for a correct answer, 3 points if we go to multiple choice. The question this week is, who had the most losses between 1983 and 1992?
Oh, shit.
1983 and 92 on the shows we watched.
Okay.
This is a wild question.
We've done wins.
I know, but like wins make sense. Not that this doesn't, but it's like, fuck.
This will be a tough one.
I mean, I'm just gonna take it to multiple choice. I'm not gonna risk it. I can't risk it.
Are we having multiple choice?
If we
Okay.
can go, we can
Multiple
go.
choice is an option.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if we buzz in to guess, then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well,
May as well just multiple choice it.
Going to multiple choice. 4 options are Brutus, the Barber Beefcake,
Okay.
beef.
Honky Tonk Man,
Okay.
Same guy.
Terry Taylor,
Okay.
or Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Damn it.
Oh man,
You got Rhythm and Blues, the Barber, and the Red Rooster.
I'm gonna
all
go
on the
straight
same
for
list.
my favorite face in all of wrestling.
So you're going for Greg?
Of course.
Greg the Hammer Valentine is correct.
Ooh.
I have to give this to you, Matt. This is an audio podcast. No, it's a podcast, so it's audio, but audio format. You are so good at being like, the answer is, and like, because I just never know. You'd be able to see it all over my face, and you are incredible at that. You should take over for Drew Carey for whatever show he's on, or I can't think of any other guys. Yeah, you should be a Price is Right guy. You should be, take Steve Harvey's job.
What were your?
I'd love to see you in a
what were
suit
your
like that.
thoughts of who it might have been?
I had no idea. I
Yes,
couldn't
that was
even.
a
I
tough
couldn't
one.
even think of anything.
Like the first one that came to my mind was the One Man Gang / Akeem or Butch Reed.
Oh yeah,
Because I was trying to think of.
Keep those in mind, because I got some bonus questions
Oh my
for
gosh.
Shit.
All I could think of was guys that I wish had lost more, and I just thought Tatanka, but I know that he didn't lose much.
And see, and then my thought process also was, okay, so I know Ric Flair lost at least 9 times. You know,
But,
just
like,
because
Greg
he
is
was
just-
former champ.
You know, he's the Greg the Hammer Valentine is kind of like my favorite wrestler, Tomohiro Ishii. He's just gonna go in there and fucking do the thing, but
So
he's gonna win half the time.
Bonus
Lose
question.
half the time.
Okay.
Bonus question for 2 points. How many losses did Valentine have?
I have a number. Are we gonna just both give a number?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
My number is 11.
So I was thinking 17.
Shane picks up the 2 points,
Ooh.
as the answer was 20.
Oh wow, that's a lot
Nice.
of losses. I mean, I guess we've watched a lot of shows, but these are like individual pins, or like a tag team
If he's
losses.
in a tag,
tag, I assume as well.
loss,
I
then
mean,
he's pinned.
we all know Greg Valentine tagged a lot,
Yeah.
especially on undercards of large shows.
And
Survivor Series is.
one more
Okay.
bonus question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the rest of the top 5
Oh, shit.
in losses.
Fuck you. I have no idea. Black Scorpion.
If they have different characters, will they count as one?
They all count as one.
All right.
I have no idea.
Hang on.
I was gonna go with
I
the
got 2
theme,
more
but
to
it's
go.
not very nice.
Or I guess 1 more to go if we're doing the top 5.
Actually, if you want to throw a 6th name on there, because I technically have 6 names. Because I had a tie for 5th place.
I'm trying to think people who just like stick around.
So go ahead and read me your answers, Shane.
I have Mr. Tom Zink, the Z-Man.
Oh, don't talk about him like that. I love him.
I've got Brutus Beefcake. I kept the Akeem One-Man Gang and Butch Reed. And then I threw Jake the Snake on there just for funsies.
And Michael?
I have Butch Reed,
Oh.
Bad News Brown, Terry Taylor, Bobby Eaton, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Sorry, Bobby.
Well,
I love
Michael picks up 1 more point. Shane gets no more points.
Oh,
we were
really?
getting 1 for each.
1 for each name that
Okay.
you got correct.
So who was my one? Because it's not Brutus.
I'll read them.
Okay. Sorry, I got excited.
Valentine had 20 losses.
Yes.
Tito Santana
I'm thinking
had
Tito.
19.
Should have thought about Tito,
Yeah.
which is a bummer. We love Tito. Strike Force forever.
Hercules and Arn Anderson both had 18 losses.
Also, Arn, very similar to my favorite wrestler, Tomohiro Ishii.
Barbarian, and the one you got the point for, Terry Taylor,
That was the one I felt the most confident about, was Terry Taylor.
had 16 losses.
It's crazy, all those big guys. You said Hercules and Barbarian. Fucking born to lose.
Yep.
They should have... Yeah, maybe...
Yeah, I didn't even think about those guys.
I guess, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I didn't
Mid-card
either.
big guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next week, Super J Cup First Stage.
1994. It's the most passed around VHS tape of all time. I mean, I'm just making that up, but this is huge, right?
Should be good.
Right?
It is very huge.
Like this is this tape turned wrestling fans onto Japanese wrestling like tenfold.
Yes.
From all those accounts that I've heard, of course, I don't know. I didn't have this tape as a kid.
I did not either.
I've known about this show for a very long time. This is the first time I've watched it. I've seen like clips of stuff from it or whatever. I mean, but this is the first time I watched the whole thing, and my God.
Music for this week's episode is Wrestlemania, the instrumental version, by Mike Stock and Peter Waterman, and Heart Attack, because Bret Hart's our new champion,
Fuck yeah.
and that's by Jim Johnston. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, recipes,
Receipts.
we're headed to Tokyo, Japan next week, so if you have some Japanese delicacy that
It would be great.
I was trying to think of a Liger pun because it's his tournament we're going to go into, but I couldn't think of a good food Liger pun. Sorry. Maybe next week I'll have it.
I wonder if there's a drink called Wild Pegasus.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet it
That might be a good option.
tasty.
It's just like
That sounds delicious.
coconut, milk, and rum, and then you put glitter in it.
Is that what you think of when you think of Wild Pegasus?
I don't know. I think it would be white.
But you can send us any of those at our email, wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com, or on our Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO. We'll talk to you next week.